Hey, what is up guys? GuitarRock here, welcome back to another counter side video. Now, a lot of you guys have been complaining about C server. You know, there's no updates, I get it. Alright, last week we didn't really get anything at all. It was a sad day, alright? The week before that, I don't know what we got. I think we barely have anything. But finally, C server is gonna have something insane, something good coming this week. Or is it? So let's talk about the characters, hopefully give you guys an idea what's happening in the patch in C server this week. Alright, so as always, we're gonna have maintenance tomorrow, so that's going to be pretty hype. We have quartz times 300, Ethereum times 1000. Now, we're gonna have new event episode, the Sun Calling Tracks, new event shop, missions are unlocked. Alright, so if you guys haven't been doing the event, make sure you guys do the current event because you can still farm Dash. I'm trying to farm as much Dash copies as I can, hopefully get it up to 110. So as you can see, new counter pass mission, we're gonna have Hayami Kanade. Alright, so Fox Mask Special Punch In, new recruitment for Yamato No Orochi, probability up. So this is a character that you can obtain. We have Chifuyu, we have Chinatsu, we have Hayami Sanae, making it come back. So all the Hayami family, except for Nayuka Minato and Ogami, because they're both very cringe. Alright, so those will not have their separate banners, I'm glad. So we only have Chifuyu, Chinatsu, Hayami Sanae, Yamato no Orochi, and Hayami Kanade. Alright, so hopefully these 5 Japanese characters, for the weeps out there, you know, you can be excited for them, I guess. Horizon will be added to the normal recruitment pool. Big thumbs up to them. That means Horizon, you can sort of get lucky if you're free to play. Hopefully get lucky and pull for Horizon in normal pool, just like how you can with Twins, with Lily, with all the other counterparts characters. Where the Wind stays, interior set for a dormitory if you care about those things. For me, like, dormitory, who really bothers anyways? So added talent deployment package, added special set binary package, added special tuning binary package, and new season starts for Danger Close. Alright, so basically the gist of it is we're gonna have 2 new characters, Hayami Kanade and Yamata No Orochi. So let's talk about both of them individually. Alright, so I just want you guys to be aware of the character. Now first off, Hayami Kanade, which is this character right here. She is going to be available in the counter pass. Now a lot of you guys are gonna ask, hey GuitarRock, is Hayami Kanade worth buying? Let me tell you something about counter passes. Some characters are insane, like Replacer King. Some characters are pretty good, Twins, Lily, Ludmilla. But there are those like a bit underwhelming, like for example Regina, a little bit underwhelming. But there's also like trash characters. And I don't want to say this, I don't want to offend people, but Hayami Kanade is the worst counterpass unit ever to be released, period. Alright? If you are going to buy counterpass, for the characters specifically, avoid buying this counterpass because she is actually the worst character. She is quite unusable in a lot of PvE and PvP stages. We're going to jump into her skills, her kits shortly. But the character that you can pull for, Yamata No Orochi. Now that one is going to be a pretty good ranger. So let's talk about them. Now let's talk about Hayami Kanade first. Now what makes her good, what makes her bad ideally? Okay, so just want to like all be on the same page. Her kit is a little bit weird. First up, she's a striker 4 cost. Alright, think carefully. 4 cost striker. So who is she competing with? She's competing with perhaps Lin Xian. Esterosa Rearm is a 4 cost striker, alright? So I want you guys to gauge that. Would you rather use a 4 cost striker for a character like this or Esterosa Rearm? So you gotta have that, you know, like Niall Blue Steel 4 cost. And then there's like 3 cost, Ifrit, Replacer Bishop, those are very strong strikers. So look at her kit, she has basic attack, does AoE, whatever. Passive skill, if she dodge attack 10 times while the passive is inactive, she jumps into the air, inflicts AoE damage on and around the target for 5 seconds. So while the passive is active, the caster becomes immune to hit stun and is considered an air unit. This is interesting, it sounds good. She needs to dodge attack 10 times while the passive is inactive for her to activate this air unit target thing. And while the passive is active, anti-ground damage rest plus 20%. So you can see she's sort of a striker that's built to be tanky in a way. Not a striker that's like doing a lot of damage. She's built to be tanky. You can see evasion increase, you can see like passive gives anti-ground damage rest. Going into the special skill, throws a giant shuriken to inflict AoE damage. The shuriken inflicts bigger damage when it comes back. damage target receives 50% less healing for 8 seconds. Now less healing is cool and all, but we already have like Lee Jisoo that reduce healing, we already have like ASY, and a lot of characters does reduce healing. So don't think this is like that spectacular, and inflicts true damage at level 5. It's like whatever, right? Last skill. Look at this. She doesn't really have an ultimate skill. She has 2 passive skills, surprisingly. Now why is that? Because she's a soldier. Alright, she is a 4-cost striker soldier. So in a way she's like a Jendo, but a different type of Jendo. Think about it, right? So passive skill, if she dodges attacks 16 times, crit increased by 500 for 6 seconds. Alright, and if you level up to level 5, alright, it will be 12 times instead. So she has to have a lot of evasion. So when you build her, you're building her with lots of evasion. Maybe you can go for Gleipnir Pop type, go for unlimited evasion. Alright, so just so that she can activate this insane skill. Increase her crit by 500. Now, on paper this sounds like good, but it's actually quite bad because the crit only lasts for 6 seconds. I feel like they should let this crit be like a permanent thing. Like every time she dodge attack, her crit should increase by 500 permanently. It shouldn't be like 6 seconds, it should be permanently, and it will keep increasing until she gets maximum crit. I think at least that she will do a lot of damage. But 6 seconds? Like, I don't know, it doesn't sound broken at all. So that's her issue right now. You can see she is a very evasion based character. Alright, so in terms of her stats, let's have a look. At level 100, she has about 42,000 HP. 42,000 HP at level 100, you know, evasion is 1.1k. So let's compare with maybe like Liumi, for example, right? Liumi has better stats. 49,000, 1,000 evasion. Liumi has way better stats. And Liumi is almost a 1-year-old character at this point. I mean, she does have a little bit higher evasion, but I don't know. This is going to bring back to a lot of questions. For example, like, is it worth buying the counter pass because she is bad? That depends on you. I don't think the counter pass is still worth it in most of the cases because it gives a lot of other things, right? You shouldn't buy it specifically for the character alone. I mentioned this a lot of times. Counter pass is the best thing to buy or to spend in the game as a low spender. So if you still, you know, you're still a free-to-play, you're still a low spender, get the counter pass for everything else, like the binaries, etc, right? Because it's going to give you those things. So let's talk about Orochi. Now, I think most players are going to be much more excited for her rather than this girl right here, Hayami Kanade. So both of them are 4 costs. I'm not a big fan of Orochi per se because she is also a 4 cost. She's a ranger instead, alright? And she's a counter. So generates electricity, blast the closest enemy with it. The attack lasts for 5 seconds and stops if the target dies or moves 10 meters away from Orochi. Very cool animation. Now this is going to be interesting. The passive skill, after dealing damage 15 times with basic attack, creates a sphere that will pulse and deal the same amount of damage to another nearby enemy, right? The sphere is created 13 basic attacks instead. So she is like a single target unit, right? And she's decent as a ranger. I don't think she will replace Gaeyun though. She's a 4-cost ranger. Special skill, generates twister that deal damage, knocks enemies into the air. After casting the skill, Orochi gains perfect evasion for 8 seconds. Now this is cool, getting the perfect evasion after she casts special skill, which is something that you can benefit from in PvP. Dispels barriers from the damaged enemies. So she can remove barrier. That is good to know. She can have the ability to remove barrier. Remember that some characters still have barriers that cannot be dispelled. For example, Awaken Heal Day, right? Awaken Heal Day's barrier can never be dispelled. It's undispellable, so make sure you guys are aware of that as well. Alright, so Heaven's Wrath merges with a snake, transforms into a storm that deals AoE damage, knocks enemies into the air. While casting the skill, Orochi gains 50% damage resistance and enemies lose 50% attack speed and speed, bosses excluded. So not bad right there for the ultimate skill. She does have very good ultimate skill. So after casting the skill, the buff and debuff linger for 10 more seconds but at half the value. So minus 25% and speed, attack speed and speed to enemies, and 25% increased damage resistance on Orochi. So she's kind of a complicated character, I would say. Building her can be a bit weird. She needs attack speed because of how her passive skill works. She needs to attack enemy every 12 times, 13 times. 13 basic attacks will basically stack, and she also needs to cast her ultimate skill. Spectral Spirit I think is the most balanced. It gives like the skill haste as well, so that's something that you can obtain. I've heard that in KR server, there's a lot of players that use Orochi to replace Kim Sobin to a certain extent. But the thing is, I feel like Orochi is definitely more PvP focused than PvE focused, because in PvE, I don't know, like she is a 4-cost ranger, so I'm kind of curious to try her out and compare. Maybe compare her with Rosaria, compare her with who's the other 4-cost, Kim Sobin, because those two are really strong rangers in PvE, and maybe we can give that a shot. I'm going to pull for her for sure tomorrow, so make sure you guys tune in as well. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. That's the patch for this week's characters. Let me know what you guys think. There's Shifuyu, Sanae, and Chinatsu as well. If you guys miss it on C server, you might be able to pull it. As always, guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.